All right, thank you guys. Just want to welcome you to our Major League Baseball video here today for Friday, April 9th. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. Now, guys, we're coming off our third straight winning day on my Patreon website. That's going to put us at 3-1 in our last four board member tier package picks on that Patreon page. We're also perfect 3-0 in our last three $1.99 daily best plays on my Patreon site as well. Now, we currently have over 1,250 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, link for that Patreon page is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. And sorry, I'm a little bit off on that introduction. Just got word that DMX passed away, which is really discouraging news. Rapper DMX, dead at 50. A lot of folks, including myself, grew up on his music. So rest in peace there to DMX. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into it. We got the Nationals versus the Dodgers, 4:10 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are minus 290, totals 8.5. Walker Buehler for the Dodgers, Joe Ross for Washington. Ross is making his first start since 2019. He was a 2020 opt-out due to COVID. Now, Ross has a 7.02 career ERA against the Dodgers. Washington is on a 2-game losing streak, and they average just 7 hits a game. They're taking on a Dodger ball club who won 5 out of their last 6 ball games themselves, and they currently lead the majors in hits. Corey Seager is batting .423 with 3 doubles and 7 ribbies. Meanwhile, Max Muncy's batting .375 himself, along with a homer and 5 RBI as well. The Dodgers have certainly been putting a charge in the baseball recently. They're scoring nearly 7 runs a game. And when it comes to the total on this one, 4 out of Los Angeles' last 7 contests got over the total of 8.5 runs. Meanwhile, 3 out of the Nationals' last 4 got over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers minus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next contest, Rockies versus the Giants, 4:35 p.m. East. The San Francisco Giants are the $1.60 favorite at home. Totals 8. Johnny Cueto for the Giants, Austin Gomer for Colorado. Now, Gomer's 0-1 on the season with just a pair of strikeouts. The Rockies pitching staff walks more batters per game than anyone in the league right now. And they're also allowing double-digit hits per contest. They're taking on a Giants team who's coming fresh off a solid series victory over a very good Padres team. The Giants held San Diego to just 7 total runs in that 3-game stretch. Now, the San Francisco pitching staff is in the top 10 in the majors in runs allowed per contest. They're giving up just 3.6 runs a game. Johnny Cueto also struck out 7 batters in under 6 innings of work in his opener. When it comes to the total on this one, San Francisco's last 4 straight all stayed under the total of 8 runs. Meanwhile, Colorado's 4-3 to the under on the season themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants minus $1.60 and the under 8. Next ball game, Angels Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern Standard Time. The LA Angels are minus $1.20, totals 10.5. Andrew Heaney for the Angels, David Phelps for Toronto, although some places had TJ Zoik listed as a starter. I think it's actually going to end up being a bit of a bullpen session here for Toronto. Now, the Blue Jays are on a 3-game losing streak. They gave up 16 total runs during that stretch. Meanwhile, offensively, they simply can't get runners on base. They're dead last in offensive walks, bottom 10 in scoring. The Blue Jays hitters are also striking out over 10 times a game. They're taking on an Angels club who won 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they rank in the top 10 in scoring. Mike Trout's batting .417 with 3 homers, 21 total bases. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani and Jared Walsh each have a pair of home runs themselves. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 5-2 to the under overall for the season. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels minus $1.20 and the under 10.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Tigers versus the Indians, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. The Cleveland Indians are minus $1.90. Totals 9.5, juice to the under. Zach Plesac for the Indians. Julio Teheran for Detroit. Now, Tehran's 1-0 with a 1.80 ERA after one start. He actually beat the Indians by holding them to just one run in over 5 innings in his season opener. He's taking on a Cleveland squad who lost 3 of 5 to open up the season, and they struggle getting on the scoreboard. The Indians are in the bottom 10 offensively in runs, bottom 10 in hits. Cleveland averages just 3.4 runs per contest. When it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Cleveland's 5 ball games this year stayed under the line. Detroit's all 4 out of their last 6 stay under that number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Tigers plus 1.5 and the under 9.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Phillies Braves, 7:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Atlanta Braves are minus $1.30, total 7.5 flat. Charlie Morton for the Braves, Zach Wheeler for the Phils. Now, Wheeler shut out the Braves in his last start. 10 strikeouts and just 1 hit he gave up in that 4-0 victory. The Phillies are currently 5-1 straight up on the season, and they're allowing just 2.6 runs per contest. Their pitching staff is also averaging double-digit strikeouts a game. They're taking on an Atlanta squad who won just 2 of 6 thus far in the year, and they really struggle to hit the baseball. They're in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 3 in hits on average per contest. The Braves are scoring only 2.8 runs per game. Charlie Morton also finds himself with an 0-1 record and a 5.40 ERA. Now, that loss was against the Phillies, by the way. And when it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta's 4-2 to the under on the season. Phil saw 3 out of their last 5 stay under the line themselves, throwing out their last game against the Mets. I'm leaning toward the Philadelphia Phillies plus $1.10 and the under 7.5. Next contest, it is going to be Padres versus the Rangers, 8:05 Eastern start time. San Diego's minus $1.80, numbers 9. Joe Musgrove for the Pods, Kohei Arriara for the Rangers. Now, Arriara had a tough MLB debut last week. 3 runs and 6 hits in just 5 innings, only a pair of strikeouts. This Rangers pitching staff ranks in the bottom 5 in the league in most runs allowed. They're also in the bottom 5 in hits allowed as well. They're taking on a Padre team who gives up only 2.7 runs per contest themselves. They're currently 4-3 straight up for the season. Joe Musgrove had a superb opening start, 6 scoreless innings against Arizona, 8 strikeouts for Musgrove. And when it comes to the total in this one, San Diego's last 6 straight all stayed under the number of... Let's try that again. Total-wise, San Diego's last 6 straight all stayed under the... A lot of unders. Not a lot of scoring for San Diego. Meanwhile, 2 out of Texas's last 3 stayed under that number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Diego Padres minus $1.80 and the under 9 runs. All right, next contest, it is going to be A's versus the Astros, 8:10 p.m. East. The Houston Astros are minus $1.75, totals 8.5, juice to the over. Lance McCullers for the Astros, Sean Manaea for Oakland. Now, Manaea had a dreadful opening start. He gave up 5 runs on 6 hits, with 2 of those hits being home runs. And even worse than that, that outing came against this very Houston squad. Now, the Astros are a dismal 1-7 straight up to start the season, and they currently rank dead last in Major League Baseball in scoring. Oakland's averaging only 2.3 runs per contest. Now, they're taking on a Houston squad who won their last 2 straight, 6-1 straight up thus far in the season. The Stros have been pounding the baseball, top 3 in scoring, top 3 in hits. Yordan Alvarez is batting .333 with a pair of homers and 8 RBI. Meanwhile, Carlos Correa and Alex Bregman, they each have a pair of home runs themselves. Pitcher Lance McCullers is also 1-0 on the season with a 1.80 ERA and 7 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, Houston's 5-2 to the over on the season. Oakland's 5-3 to the over themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Houston Astros minus $1.75 and the over 8.5. Next and final matchup, Reds D-backs, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. The Cincinnati Reds are minus 150, numbers 9. Tyler Mahle for the Reds, Taylor Widener for Arizona. The D-backs are on a 2-game losing streak, 2-5 straight up in their last 7. Arizona's pitching staff is in the bottom 5 in striking batters out, and they allow nearly 6.5 runs per contest. They're taking on a 5-1 Cincy team who's been pounding the baseball, first in the majors in scoring, top 3 in hits. Nick Castellanos and Tyler Naquin, they each have 4 home runs apiece already on the year. Tyler Mahle's also 1-0 thus far in the season with a 3.60 ERA and 9 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, Cincy could very well put this one over themselves. They're also 5-1 to the over on the year. Meanwhile, 2 out of Arizona's last 3 got over the total of 9 runs themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Cincinnati Reds minus $1.50 in the over 9 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like the LA Dodgers minus 1.5 over 8.5. San Francisco minus 160 under 8. LA Angels minus $1.20 under 10.5. Detroit plus 1.5 under 9.5. Philadelphia plus $1.10 under 7.5. San Diego minus $1.80 under 9. Houston minus $1.75 over 8.5. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 3-1 in our last 4 board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also 3-0 in our last 3 $1.99 daily best plays on my Patreon site as well. I'm going to lean toward the Cincinnati Reds minus $1.50 in the over 9 runs. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind we're going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today, just keep in mind you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of April. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.